welcome to Posse Presents. Here tonight with me once again is Laurel Cox.
Hi, Theo.
Hi, Laurel. Thank you for being on tonight.
It's my pleasure.
And we have Moo, who is at the other end of this mystery leash, and maybe we can get her up. Come on, Moo. Come on, good girl.
Come on.
Up, come on. You can do it.
All the way.
Oh, you can do it. Come on. I'm going to push her up with my foot. Hi, Moo. Anyway, this is your third time on the show.
Yes.
And we are wrapping up Adopt a Senior Month.
Yes, we are.
And Moo has been here before, too, for Adopt a Senior Month. And, of course, just like Pit Bull Month and Shelter Dog Month, I mean, it should be every month.
It should,
That
yes.
these animals should be on everyone's radar because it's every month that they need homes,
Right.
not just one time a year.
Right.
Now, separate and apart from that, seniors have become your calling.
They have. And I started out, the very first dog I ever adopted was a three-legged German Shepherd Husky mix. And she was not a senior, but she was considered special needs. And she really pulled at my heartstrings, and I adopted her. And I realized soon after adopting her that she was a little wary of people, but she was great with other dogs. So we went on a search to find a dog for her that was more outgoing. And it ended up, I found another three-legged dog named Dusty, and he did happen to be a senior. So he was my first senior, and he was really they're just such wonderful dogs. You know, everybody loves puppies. They're adorable, but they're a lot of work.
I was just say, puppies are a lot of work.
They
Not
are.
everybody's cut out for it.
No, I am not.
Yeah, I have become less so.
Yeah, it's just,
An
you know,
adult
there's
is-
very active people who love to hike and
Yep.
are very physical. That's not me.
Yeah, me
And
neither.
so I wouldn't be the best home for a puppy. And so older dogs are great. You know, they still need to go for their walks and everything.
Absolutely.
But
But they're a complete package. They're
they
usually
are.
trained.
They're usually trained, and
They may have quirks.
yeah,
But
we all
it's-
do.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily that teaching how to be a member of the family.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the housebreaking. It's not the stop destroying my house. It's just a lot less work
Right.
in a lot of ways. I mean, you still have to acclimate the dog to your home and
That's
your
right.
routine
Yes.
and find each other out.
Right.
But it's wonderful because they are seasoned to perfection.
They are.
I mean, that's how I look at my guys. I mean, my two old guys are 12, but they are seasoned to perfection with me since puppies, and believe me, they're the last puppies I think I'll ever have had. They were puppies
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
and so that was two for the price of one, so to speak,
Exactly.
and I'm all set.
Yep.
I'm all set. Seniors are usually overlooked in shelters.
They are. And, you know, people, I think they're hesitant to adopt seniors because they think, oh, well, I'm going to fall in love with this dog and I'm not going to have a lot of time with this dog. But, you know, a lot of these seniors have a lot of good years left in them.
Absolutely.
And it's just a wonderful thing to do because they deserve to have a loving home for the remainder of their years as much as any dog does.
Absolutely. And seniors usually deemed a dog around 7 or so.
Right.
And that can be their half-life
Exactly. Oh, yeah.
or more. You know, it's 7 to 10 to 12 to 15. I had a dog to 17.
Right.
So there's no saying that, you know, it's like Rainbow Bridge time just because they're 7.
Right.
Or
It's
they're
not.
called a senior.
Right.
And it's not, it's a selfish thing. It's a selfish thing to think, oh, I won't have a lot of time with this animal. I mean, some of them at that age might have some health problems and it shortens their time span, and it increases your commitment in a number of ways, but the love they give you.
It's such a rewarding experience.
Yeah.
And when I adopted Moo, it was a year ago in July, and she was in pretty bad shape. She was at the Hartford Dog Pound, and I just fell in love with her. She was older, she was not healthy, and she was blind.
Yeah. And
And so
that's a big part of her story now.
it is a big part of her story.
Because?
And, well, she can see now.
Yes, she can.
And it was quite the journey because she was very sick. She ended up having pyometra, which, for anyone who doesn't know, is a very serious condition. It's commonly found in dogs that are overbred. It's a horrible infection in the uterus, and it can be fatal. So she had that, and she was hospitalized for a long time, and she also has diabetes. So we had to get her in relatively good shape before we could explore the possibility of cataract surgery. And in May, they finally deemed her healthy enough, and she had cataract surgery, and she can see now. And it's been...
That has to have been an amazing thing for you to watch her.
One of the most amazing experiences of my life is just watching her go from a blind dog to a seeing dog. You can learn a lot from that experience. She takes in everything. She doesn't miss a beat, and everything is interesting and new to her. You know, I've had a blind dog before, and unfortunately he was not a candidate for the surgery. And I knew that might have been the possibility with her. And if it was, I mean, she'd still be here, she'd be back on your show, and she'd be as happy as she is now.
Yeah. She owned this studio when she was here
did.
last time. And I remember we had to put off her visit because of her health problems.
Right.
Because we were going to have you on, I think, a little sooner than later, but she had her problems,
Yes.
and we had to wait until she was healthy enough. I never had a blind dog in the studio before, and she owned it. You would not have known for a second that this was a blind dog. You
Yes.
just wouldn't have.
Right.
And, you know, I followed, of course, as I do your stories, and the moment that she could see was just, we all cried with you.
Yeah.
But what was it like when you got to see her and she could see you?
Well, my husband and I went to pick her up after the surgery, and you know, we were just so nervous and excited, and when they brought her out, she stood there and she took everything in, and her tail was wagging like it always is, but she didn't know we were mommy and daddy because she had never seen us before. And it wasn't until I said,
sight recognition.
Right, I said, "Hi, Moo Moo," and she knew my voice. And then my husband took her out and was walking her around, and I came out after paying the bill, and she turned around and she saw me, and she was kind of far away, and it was the first time I ever saw her really run, and she was running to me, and that was amazing, with her big cone on, and just galloping towards me, and it was wonderful. And this whole surgery happened up in Massachusetts, and we stayed in a hotel room that night because we had to bring her back the next day, and she spent the whole night watching television. She was fascinated by the television.
Were they able to tell you how long she had been without her sight?
They weren't able to tell me exactly. They did say she had one of the worst cases of cataracts they had ever seen, so they imagine she's been blind the majority of her life, if not her whole life.
Yeah, because that doesn't happen overnight.
It doesn't.
It's a gradual robbing of the sight, and it's a loss of sight that just doesn't, it's progressive.
Right, and you know, blindness and diabetes go hand in hand, and so originally when she was diagnosed with diabetes, when I first got her, I thought that that's what had caused her vision impairment, but they really didn't think that was it. They thought it was something genetic, but we don't have to worry about it anymore.
No, it's just so wonderful to see her.
And she acts like a puppy now, the puppies that
be careful what you wish for, right? Because you just might get it. And she is just like camped out on the floor. You kind of can't see her, but she's very comfortable at Mommy's feet, and it's a beautiful thing. And she's a wonderful dog. She really is.
She's an amazing dog. She just loves people, and she just touches everyone's hearts. And my parents adore her. They absolutely adore her, and they were a little wary of the pit bull breed, as many people are, and my brother adopted a couple of pit bull mixes, and I adopted one, and I adopted her, and they've just met 4 amazing dogs. So they don't see that as a pit bull mix anymore. They see them as just great dogs. And she's really bonded with my father, and for Thanksgiving, my father called me up. He never, ever makes phone calls, and he said, "Does Moo like white meat or dark meat?" And
wasn't
I
there-
guess she's coming for Thanksgiving. She had her own plate.
Yeah, wasn't there a little something about who was going to give her her plate?
Yes, I
saw on
tried
your
to give
face.
her her dinner, and my mother grabbed it and said, "No, I want to put it down for her." So she is a great dog, and my goal is to get her into therapy, to be a therapy dog eventually, because she just really gravitates towards people, and she seems to sense when people are sad or just need a little unconditional, quiet love. So I think she would be a perfect candidate for that.
Yeah, she's got all the makings then.
She sure does.
And she's so mellow. I mean, you know, she's not, or she's at least not now.
Not
she's not
here.
being a
If you came
busybody.
over my house, she'd show you her.
She a slight different dog.
She is. She acts like a 2-year-old.
Moo.
Yes.
Moo.
Oh, sorry, woke her up.
Oh, did we disturb your beauty sleep? Oh, not that. She's just camped out. She really is at the other end of the leash, though. I
Yep,
promise you.
She's still here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, she has kind of become a celebrity of sorts.
Yes.
You've been taking her to all kinds of events,
Mm-hmm.
and people are falling in love with her left and right. I saw one of the posts on Facebook from our author, Sue Torres.
Yeah.
You're two of her favorite ladies. We're going to be on the show tonight. So Moo has done a lot of appearances.
She has.
And she was actually one of Sue's Heroes of the Month.
She was the August Dog Hero of the Month for her story and everything she's been through and overcome. And she went to an event we had at a photography studio fundraiser, and she did great there. Although she was the only dog allowed there, and somebody came and they did bring in 2 of their own little dogs, and she was not happy that they intruded on her parade.
Oh, are you just
she-
a little
she barked a little
territorial
bit.
of the spotlight?
Yeah, she says she doesn't share the spotlight well.
Well, you know, not every diva can.
No.
You know, it's just the way it rolls, you know?
Yes,
Some of us can share and some of us don't like to.
that's
so
right.
It is what it is. So what kind of things, what kind of events has Moo really been
Oh, she's
spoked
been.
up for? I mean, I know there's a particular cause that
Yes.
she's connected with, and
Moo is an example of a dog that the rescue group I'm a part of would help. And I'm part of a group called Kenway's Cause. And we focus solely on the animals in the city of Hartford, the strays, the dogs that are impounded at the Hartford Dog Pound, like she was. And the city of Hartford, the dogs there have 9 days to find a home. And we have a really good following, and we managed to get the majority of them out. But if the animal control officer for Hartford picks up an injured dog or cat, a dog that's hit by a car, just found injured, the city doesn't have the money in the budget to treat them medically. So in the past, the ACO would normally have to euthanize that animal. So the ACO's dream was to start a group that would be able to help with that. And 3 years ago, that dream came true, and I'm happy and proud to be a part of it. And we now raise money so we can intervene. When the ACO picks up an injured animal, Kenway's Cause can get that animal to a vet and pay for whatever it needs. And it's been very successful. We've been able to save an awful lot of dogs and cats that have gone on to get adopted. And it's not just even the strays and the impounded dogs, but we help residents of the city. And actually just recently, there was a Hartford resident who had a little Shih Tzu that she could no longer care for. She did not have the financial means, and she wanted to find a new home for it. And we found a foster, and Kenway's paid for all the vetting, and it was actually just placed in his forever home on Tuesday night. So we were able in that scenario to keep the dog out of the pound, and that's what we strive to do.
Yeah.
And we have a dog that looked very much like Moo that was in the pound over the summer, and she was blind, 2 years old. And we were able to assist the person who adopted her with getting her the same surgery that Moo had, and she can see now too. And
That's
she's
amazing.
doing great, but I heard she's gotten a little feisty since regaining sight as well. They
Well.
regain their sight and they find their confidence. So
Yeah, but I don't think Moo ever lacked confidence.
she didn't. No, she's
She
always
didn't
thought
seem
she was
to.
pretty special.
Yeah, well, she is pretty special.
She is pretty special.
Of course she's pretty special, aren't you, Moo? You're very special. Look at her looking at Mom. I gotta love it. I gotta love it.
Yes.
All right, so we're jumping around a little bit. We have some pictures
Of Moo.
of Moo.
Okay.
Zach, can we see Moo's pictures?
Oh, this is her before and after. That was her at the pound on the left.
I remember when she was in the pound before you adopted her, and I remembered those pictures, and I knew you were going to adopt her. But I'm just going to leave it at that.
I love that picture.
That picture's priceless. I love that. Little mommy love there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cute.
She doesn't seem to lack for the comforts of,
No.
of home or.
She's a spoiled princess, as she
Is she
should
like
be.
falling asleep in the
She
chair
actually
there?
is sound asleep sitting up in that picture.
That's hilarious. She's got the most expressive face.
She does.
Even when she's sleeping, I mean, she looks like an angel. Look at that. That's like the RCA dog picture. It really is. And that's the picture I was talking about before.
Yes.
I just love that like towel over the head.
She's waking
like,
up from a nap.
Yeah. That's like fabulous. You can go. I would say you can go through them again, Zach. And if Laurel's got anything she wants to add to any of these pictures, I mean, we started and I think Zach got away from us.
Moo was as sick as she was at the pound. The day I met her, her tail just never stopped wagging, and she was in a lot of discomfort. And it's just, these dogs are just so resilient, and they have so much love to give. And I don't know what her story was before she ended up with me, but
You know, that's the sad part of the shelter dogs, is you really don't know where they came from, what their life was like, what anybody did to them, you know, how they got to be, like in Moo's case, so uncomfortable and uncared for, and how to pick up the pieces.
right.
But we do it the best we can.
We
And,
do.
you know, we always hope for the best. And I think Moo got the best of the best. And she is the best of the best.
And in being a volunteer at the Hartford Dog Pound and involved with Kenway's cause, we see so many dogs that have obviously been through such horrible experiences, young dogs that have already seen the darker places in life, and they're just still so willing to trust. And I've learned more from dogs than I've learned from humans.
Yeah.
They've just taught me, no matter how hard it gets, you just keep on going. They just take what life deals them, and they keep on going, and they learn to love and trust again. And
Well, you know, when they have the support system that Hartford has, and they have an ACO like Hartford has,
oh, who is that?
who is just amazing. As we both sit here laughing. Sherry is, I mean, I've said it many a times here on the show, the standard by which every pound should have an ACO like Sherry.
Right.
I mean, she cares
She truly cares
so
about
much. She
each
puts
animal
her
that.
heart
Yes.
into every last one of them. I don't think anybody is like her throughout the state. I really, you know, there are those who care. There are those who unfortunately are indifferent
Right.
and really don't care. But Sherry,
She does.
she gives her heart and soul to every animal
She
that,
really
that
does.
comes her way.
And a perfect example, I mean, aside from the work she does on the streets every single day and what she sees and has to deal with, a friend of mine texted me that there were 2 kittens in Hartford that were strays. They were living under a dumpster. And I obviously told Sherry about it. And she spent days trying to catch those kittens, and she didn't give up. And they were tough to catch, and she caught them both. And actually, Kenway's cause took them in, and I believe both of them have gone on to be adopted. I know at least one of them has. So she does. I mean, she's a strong woman. She's a tough woman, but she cries
she's
every
all
week
heart, yeah,
over what
she's all
she
heart.
sees and deals with, and that's what
And
every
some of
animal
the
control
stories
officer
that
should be
she
like.
posts,
Yeah.
you know, some of the backstories and the stuff that you don't get to see, you just wonder. It takes a strong person, it takes a loving person to do what she does.
Yes.
And there are scars that go with it.
There are.
But she gets up every day and she does it.
Right. She's not cold to it.
No.
You can just get hard into it, and
Yeah.
she doesn't. It touches, each
No.
one of these animals touches her. They're all her animals as far as she's concerned.
Oh,
so.
yeah. And she wants the best for them. And she doesn't give up on them. And to see her in these pictures with the animals, I mean, they love her.
They do. Sometimes they don't want to leave the pound. The adopters come to pick them up, and they're like, no, we're going to stay with Sherry. And it's kind of embarrassing. She has to throw them in the car.
You've got a home. Go.
No. But in most of the cases, she's the only one who has ever shown them any love or kindness or anything. So they immediately get attached to her.
Oh, of course. I mean, you know,
can't blame
they're
them.
not stupid.
Right.
They know that they're safe.
Right.
Finally, probably for the first time ever.
Right.
With this person who scooped them up out of
And my
hell.
heart for dogs that I have and have had, they don't forget her.
No.
And she comes over and they lose their minds. They don't forget.
Because of course you have a friendship with Sherry, separate and
Yes.
apart from all of the work that you do.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful thing to see too.
Yes, it absolutely is.
And on that note, I'm just wondering if we can interrupt someone who happens to be filming this to come over and just maybe say hi to everyone, because as we're filling her head with all of this stuff,
I don't know if her head's going to fit on the camera, though, after what we just said.
actually have Sherry DeGenova finally on camera. I've been begging. But here is our own Wonder Woman. And Sherry, I have to say, you are amazing.
Thank you. And I have to say, you need a bigger couch.
Yes, I do. I do, and I'm sorry, but you know, we have you here, and that's what matters.
It actually brought tears to my eyes to hear you guys talking about what I do.
I was trying not to cry because I
yeah.
love you that much.
It's tough. It's tough. And Laurel, and along with all the other members of my group, Laurel especially, she's my sounding board. She's the one I call when it's the bottom of the bottom and, you know, the toughest part of my days. And, you know, there's another guy, Ralph, who is behind our scene kind of guy, but he's really important to the mesh of what we do. And I couldn't do what I do without my people.
Yeah, you have to have a support system.
absolutely.
You have to be able to let off that steam.
Yeah.
And it's got to be hard some days.
It is. It's really hard.
is.
And, you know, I've been in the field over 30 years, and I still cry.
Yeah, how can you not?
Yeah.
I mean,
I have you know, anyone in this field that still cares and still has compassion, it affects you mentally, physically, emotionally, and, you know, I mean, I still have a hard time sleeping at night, but then there's times where I see Moo,
yeah.
you know, and Adelina, and then my friend Shannon, who has Gemma, who was, you know, found in the back of a drug house, locked in a crate with a chain around her neck.
I remember
you know,
that one.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, those are the stories and those are the things that keep us going.
And
So.
thank God you keep going.
Yeah.
Because what would Hartford be without you? What would those dogs be without you?
They wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, I can't
But I have to
imagine.
retire eventually.
You're not allowed. We're going to find like you know,
Cloning.
a youth potion or something.
Laurel said she's going to retire and do my job. And then you could be her sidekick.
Oh, you know something,
I can say that to you in Hartford.
as strong as I am, I couldn't do what you do. I know this.
You would. Because you know what? We all have the same passion. We all have the same compassion. And we are the voices for the ones that can't speak.
But how do you do it without getting arrested? Because I would be angry.
Yeah, well, bleep.
Exactly. I would
Those
be.
are the things you don't want to know about.
Yeah, I would be
It's
angry.
hard. It's really hard because being a member of the, you know, the police force, I have to hold myself to a higher standard.
Yeah, you do.
And it's hard. I mean, if, you know, in the situations and in the calls I've been on, if you're in my head, at the times I'm on those situations, it's two different scenarios. And you know, you have to go for the grander scheme, and that's getting the animal safe, making that person who's hurting that animal responsible for what they're doing. And if they're not, then, you know, if you find an animal that's abandoned in the park or whatever it may be, get that animal safe. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, you have to keep your focus, and you can't be sidetracked by what you want to do to the people who have put that
Exactly.
animal in that situation.
And anyone that's in this field that says you have to shut your emotion off and you can't feel and it's a line of crap. You have to be compassionate. You have to have the desire, and you have to have the drive. You have to get up every morning, because there are mornings that it's hard to get up and know what you're going to face every day. It's our calling. This is where I was meant to be. This is where I'll die doing, is helping animals.
And thank God for you,
Yeah, thank you.
because you are amazing, and I can't say that enough. You really are the standard by which every ACO should model themselves, because you're just, what do we call you, Wonder Woman? She is, folks. If you haven't subscribed to the Facebook City of Hartford page, you really need to do that, and you'll see the kind of magic that Sherry creates along with her supporters, and you'll understand the emotional factor here. She does so much, and yeah, so you fight the tears because you've got a rock star sitting next to you. But the support that Sherry gets, the support that the city of Hartford gets, it's unequaled, and it's because of Sherry, and it's because of who she is and how she maintains herself and how she treats the animals and how she cares for them. So go on Facebook and check out the page, and believe me, you'll understand once you do that, and once you see some of the things that go on, and some of the beautiful things that come out of Hartford. You'll understand. It'll be worth your trip on Facebook. And I can't say how much I really appreciate that you came tonight too.
That was a surprise.
Yeah, it was a surprise. I thought I was seeing things. I've been trying to get you on. Maybe now, this is kind of like broken the ice.
Yeah.
But we are out of time, and we have a special way we say goodnight here on the show. You remember?
Yes.
We're going to say peace,
Peace.
love,
Love.
and dogs. And we're done. Say goodnight.
Say goodbye, Moo.
Bye-bye, Moo.